Hello everyone and hope you are doing well. Before we go into looking about the SC-900 exam questions, I'm super happy to introduce you to my course SC-900 practice test that I have launched on Udemy, and you know what? It's already doing really well. It is one of the top rated courses on Udemy for SC-900 with 4.5 average rating, and it is already part of Udemy for Business collection. I thought I will make video on SC-900 course, picking up some questions here and there, but then Udemy said that since the course is part of Udemy for Business collection, I cannot publish the questions on any platform, including YouTube, other than my own website. So if you want to see sample questions from my course, I request you to go to my website. And in this page, I have embedded certain sample questions so you can get a glimpse of how my practice test questions are framed. This course also has very good comments. So if I scroll down, I will show you some of the reviews I have received here. Pretty much 5-star ratings, some 4-star, 3 stars. Huge number of 5-star ratings, and thanks a lot if you have already taken my course and given the rating. But then if you have not taken my course, you can always check the link in the description. I'm going to include the highest discount possible ever that you will get on Udemy. So check out my course, check the description for the best discount available for this course, and check out my website as well. Scroll down this page, you will see examples of questions that I've included from my course. But then to give you some idea of how the questions are framed in the exam, I'm going to show it from WizLabs. So have a great learning journey ahead. A company wants to use Windows Hello for Business for authentication. Which of the following are the authentication techniques available? Choose 3 answers from the options given below. Well, the entire purpose of Windows Hello for Business in Windows 10 is to ensure that passwords are not used in the authentication process. Here, users use two-factor authentication that has a user credential tied to a device via the usage of PIN or biometric recognition. So options A, B and E are the right choices. Options C and D are incorrect since Windows Hello for Business addresses any problems with passwords and ensures that secure measures are used for the authentication process. Which of the following can be used to provide a secure score for the resources defined as part of your Azure account? Well, Azure Security Center has 2 main goals: to help you understand your current security situation and to help improve your security. The central feature in Security Center that enables you to achieve these goals is Secure Score. Security Center assesses your resources for security issues and aggregates all the findings into a single score that tells your organization's current security situation. The higher the score, the lower the risk. Secure Score is part of Azure Security Center and is the right answer to this question. Azure Key Vault is a cloud service for securely storing and accessing secrets. Simply put, Azure Sentinel is an SIEM and SAOR tool. SIEM stands for Security Information Event Management, which are a set of tools that offer a holistic view of an organization's information security. And SAOR stands for Security Orchestration Automated Response, which is a software that collects data about security threats and responds to security events without human assistance. Azure Information Protection is a cloud-based solution that classifies and protects documents and emails in both SharePoint and Outlook by applying labels. For the next one, just look at this part of the question. Which of the following can be used for the requirement? Be able to ensure no one can delete resources defined in a resource group. To answer this question, I have created a resource group and a storage account in my subscription. First, let's go to the resource group and create a lock on the resource group. Locks prevent other users in your organization from accidentally deleting or modifying critical resources. There are two types of locks that you can create: the read-only lock and the delete lock. The delete lock makes sure that users can still read and modify a resource, but they cannot delete the resource. And the read-only lock makes sure that the users can read a resource, but they cannot delete or update a resource. Read-only is far more restrictive, so let's apply that to our resource group. The storage account present within the resource group also inherits the parent lock. Let's try deleting our storage account. As expected, the lock will not allow us to delete the resource. Azure Resource Lock is the right answer to this question. A policy is a default allow and explicit deny system based on resource properties that helps to enforce organizational standards. Whereas blueprints ensure that the final product or solution is built to a specification and is in compliance with your organizational standards and requirements. Azure AD Identity Protection helps an admin to prevent, detect, and remediate identity risk in their organization by monitoring each login for identity compromise. You're considering the use of sensitivity labels in Microsoft 365. Can sensitivity labels be used to encrypt the contents in documents? Sensitivity labels lets you classify and protect your data across different platforms and devices, so they can encrypt emails and documents to prevent unauthorized access, mark the content by adding watermarks, headers and footers to emails and documents, protect your content in containers such as sites and groups, and prompt users to apply the label that you recommend. So yes, sensitivity labels can be used to encrypt the content in documents. You plan to use Azure Bastion service. Can you use it to restrict traffic from the internet into an Azure virtual machine? No, you cannot use Azure Bastion service to restrict traffic into an Azure virtual machine. For that, you need to use network security groups. The Azure Bastion service, which is provisioned inside a virtual network, provides secure RDP or SSH connectivity into an Azure virtual machine via the Azure portal and the browser. You are looking at the capabilities of Azure Active Directory. Can you use Azure AD to manage device registrations? Yes, you can indeed manage devices in Azure AD. Within Azure Active Directory, go to Devices, and here you can either enable or disable an Azure AD device, or delete a device, or configure device settings by playing around with these options. Your company plans to use Azure Cloud Services. Which of the following can be used to ensure that data can be read only by the authorized users? Well, to make sure that the data can only read by the authorized users, you just need to encrypt the data. Only the authorized users will have the encryption key. This key can then be used to decrypt and read the data. Encryption is the right choice. Data deduplication is a process that eliminates excessive copies of data so that your storage requirements decrease considerably. When enabled, data deduplication optimizes free space on a volume by examining the duplicated portions on the volume. Data archiving is a practice of identifying data that is no longer actively used and moving it out of production systems into long-term storage systems. Archival data is still stored so that at any time it can be brought back into service. Data compression is a reduction in the number of bits needed to represent the data. Compressing data saves storage costs too. Your company uses Azure Active Directory for storing identities. Which of the following authentication methods are available for self-service password reset? Choose 3 answers from the options given below. Azure AD Self-Service Password Reset gives users the ability to change or reset their password without the help of an administrator. If a user's account is locked or they forgot their password, they can unblock themselves. This reduces help desk calls and improves productivity when a user cannot sign into the device. Before a user can use self-service password reset, an admin must enable SSPR for the user, and the user must register with at least one of these supported authentication methods. So, email, mobile app notification, and mobile app code are the right answers. Passport identification number and a picture message doesn't really make any sense in this context. Your company is looking at different security aspects when using Azure. Which of the following could be used for the following requirement? Enforce multi-factor authentication based on the sign-in risk. In Azure AD Identity Protection, you can configure the sign-in risk policy to allow access and enforce multi-factor authentication. Option A is the right choice. Option B is incorrect since conditional access is a simple if-then statement used by Azure AD to enforce organizational policies. Option C is incorrect too since Azure AD roles assign permissions to users and helps you manage who has access to Azure resources and what they can do with those resources. Option D is incorrect since Azure AD Connect is used to sync identities from the on-premises Active Directory to Azure AD. Which of the following is a scalable, cloud-native, security information event management and security orchestration automated response solution? Well, we already discussed that Azure Sentinel is a security information event management and security orchestration automated response solution. Option A is the right choice. Option B is incorrect because Azure Security Center can give various security metrics and recommendations for your environment, but it cannot provide a complete orchestration and a response-based solution. Option C is incorrect because Azure Active Directory is an identity-based solution in Azure. Option D is incorrect too because Azure AD Identity Protection is for protecting your identities in Azure. Which of the following provides advanced and intelligent protection of Azure and hybrid resources and workloads? Well, we have already talked about options B, C, and D, and they do not provide any protection of Azure and hybrid resources and workloads. Azure Defender, which is part of Azure Security Center, is the right choice as it provides built-in protection for your hybrid and cloud workloads. Which of the following is available for the Azure Application Gateway service that helps to protect web applications from common exploits and vulnerabilities? The Azure Web Application Firewall can be used along with Azure Application Gateway resource to protect your web applications from common exploits and vulnerabilities. It can also protect against attacks such as SQL injection attacks or cross-site scripting attacks. Option B is the right answer. Option A is incorrect since Azure Firewall is a managed firewall service for the resources that are part of your Azure Virtual Network. Option C and D, we have already discussed what they are and when they should be used. You are evaluating different services in Azure when it comes to security. Which of the following can be accomplished with the use of Azure Privileged Identity Managed Service? Option A is incorrect since filtering traffic to Azure virtual machines is managed with the help of network security groups. Option B is incorrect too since enabling multi-factor authentication for users based on the sign-in risk can be accomplished with the help of Azure AD Identity Protection as we discussed earlier. Option D is incorrect, since this can be accomplished with the help of Azure Security Center. With Azure Privileged Identity Management, you can provide just-in-time access to Azure AD roles and resource roles. Option C is the right answer. You are evaluating different discovery tools that are available with Microsoft 365. You need to map the right tool that can be used for the requirement. Be able to quickly find email in Exchange mailboxes. Which of the following would you use? Option A is incorrect, since Core eDiscovery is normally used to search and export content in Microsoft 365 and Office 365. Option B is incorrect, since Advanced eDiscovery provides an end-to-end workflow to preserve, collect, analyze, review, and export content in Microsoft 365. Option C is incorrect, since sensitivity labels are used for information protection. The content search tool is used to quickly find email in Exchange mailboxes, documents in SharePoint sites, and OneDrive locations. Option D is the right answer. You are evaluating the different discovery tools that are available with Microsoft 365. You need to map the right tool that can be used for the desired requirement, provide basic capabilities on searching and exporting of content in Microsoft 365. Which of the following would you use for this requirement? Well, as discussed earlier, Core eDiscovery tool helps you to find and export content in Microsoft 365 and Office 365. All the other options are incorrect and we have already discussed about them.